Welcome to the first episode of Procrastination Garage. The goal of this channel is to help me get projects done. Projects of a mechanical nature, automotive, truck, motorcycle, snowmobile, boat, anything mechanized, let's put it at that. Anyway, I have a bad habit of starting projects and not completing them. So I'm thinking maybe if I put some YouTube pressure on me, and I have all of you out there, which may be 1, 10, or 100, to help keep me motivated. And my goal is to upload weekly with what I've accomplished. It may not be a lot. The goal is a video of 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes in length. If you're looking for high production values, you better go somewhere else. This is all done on an Android phone, and you get what you get. So, like I said, this is episode number 1. We'll see where it goes from here. My goal is to upload on Mondays, so hopefully there'll be a video by Tuesday. That gives me the weekend to get stuff done as I procrastinate all week and put it off till the end. So first up project, we're looking at a couple of brake jobs. Main reason being they're just something that need to be done and it's easy to do, and so there you go. So welcome to Procrastination Garage, and my name's Matt, and let's get started. After I finished up that intro, I got to thinking, you may be wondering why you'd want to hang around here. Is there anything that you'd be possibly interested in? So let me tell you about some of the vehicles I own, and then you can decide for yourself if it's something that might interest you. I've got a couple of Super Duty Ford trucks, an F-250 and a 350. One's a V10, one's a 6.7 turbo diesel. I have a 74 Ford Bronco that needs some work and is almost roadworthy. I've got a Suzuki SX4 that I'm kind of building into a little mini off-roader like a Subaru. What else? I've got a couple of boats, older ones with old Mercury outboards on them. I've got a Kawasaki Terex UTV. I've got a couple of Can-Am ATVs. What else? Snowmobiles, Skidoos. I've got lawnmowers. I've got a John Deere tractor. Who knows? There's lots of things that may pop up on this channel over the next, well, who knows how long this channel's going to last. For the guy that doesn't have enclosed space to work on his vehicle and other projects, 40 by 60 seems like a big shop. But you know what? That's not the case. What you find is with all this newfound space, you start collecting more stuff, and you want to keep it in and out of the weather. So now you have just a shop full of stuff. So before we even get started on today's project, we've got to move some stuff out of the way so we can get a vehicle in there to work on it. Well, that's a little better. At least it's opened up enough to where I can get the front of the vehicle in there to work on it. And what is today's project? We're going to call it the lazy man's brake job on a 2014 Venza. And right now all we're doing is the front brakes because I ordered the pads online and only the front ones have come in so far. Yes, I know this car needs a bath. I don't wash my wife's car. She can go to a car wash. I wash the rest of them. Okay, we got the left front corner jacked up, a jack stand underneath it for safety, and now let's get that wheel off. Okay, wheels off. Next up, time to get the caliper off. The reason we're calling this a lazy man's brake job is because all I'm doing is replacing the pads. Disc is fine. I know the techs out there, they're just rolling over, but it just isn't that big a deal. New pads will seat themselves and they'll just have a lot of life left in them. So if you don't like it, move along. New pad on the left, old pad on the right. Do you think it was time for new brakes? Well, I guess that's why it was squealing all the time. My bad. Okay, I saved you all the gory details of putting the left side back together. Now here's the thing. First of all, the more YouTube sees, the more you can make fun of me. And boy, do you have a lot to make fun of because it was not pretty. And number 2, I just don't have a good camera setup to let it run. So it's just easy to put it back together. I did have to fire the car up and turn the steering all the way to the left to be able to get at the caliper bolts. But no biggie. Anyway, now we're moving on to the right side. And it'll be a lot easier since I already fumbled through the left side. So I can't be the only one that has this problem. Who else is working in tight quarters like this? I mean, without moving everything out of the shop, there's just limited space. And you just make do with what you got. All right, moving on to the right side. And if you're like me, you lose parts or tools. In this case, I'm looking for my headlamp. Headlamp. Oh, headlamp. Where'd you go? All right, found you. I can't do anything without the headlamp. Okay, the right side is all buttoned up. Gonna take it for a quick test drive to make sure the front's good. And then we're just kind of on hold, and the other brake pads are supposed to be in tomorrow, Sunday, so let's hope that's true. Okay, time to put everything back in the shop so we can lock up for the night and do it all again tomorrow. The test drive was kind of inconclusive because I can hear a lot of brake noise. I suspect it's the back brakes because they were really bad as well. So we'll know after we change those pads out, hopefully tomorrow. Welcome to day 2 working on the Venza's brakes. Had to take a break from the brake job yesterday because the brake pads that were supposed to arrive from Amazon yesterday didn't get here till late, and I didn't feel like doing it last night. So now we're on to a Monday and we'll finish up. This is my shop kitty. His name is Bear. He's a good boy. Today we've got the ass end in so we can do the rear brakes. Alright, we got the wheels off of both sides. I've already pulled the bolts holding the caliper and got the new pads to go on, so let's go. I lied. These are actually the brake pads. These are Bosch. The other brake pads I showed were for another project we got to take care of here in the next day or so. Anyway, there's a caliper. Loose. Get the damn thing off. Alright. Alright, there it is up and out. I'm sorry I don't have enough hands to hold the camera and show you why I replaced pads. Low budget operation here. Comparing old to new, obviously we got our money's worth out of those pads. Yeah, they're way gone. They should have been replaced quite a while ago, but didn't get to it. Anyway, if you're wondering about the washers and the screwdriver, that's how I get the caliper to separate after I put the new pads in. I'll show you a little bit. Everybody's got their own tips and tricks, I suppose. I know there's a special tool, but big flat washers have always worked for me. Not as much clearance on the back, so we're actually using manual tools, doing some manual labor today. That's all right. They actually come out pretty good. The nice thing about living in central Washington is things aren't real rusty here. Sorry about the picture quality. How many times do you sit there fiddling with something, trying to do it, knowing you can get it done, but if you just go get the right tool, it would make it just a little bit easier. No, you're too lazy to do that, and you keep fiddling with it, and you keep fiddling with it, and then all of a sudden you're like, I got to go get the right tool. Well, that was the case here. I needed this, and I was too lazy to go get it. This will make the job a lot easier. Okay, for those wondering, if you look down in there, you can see the washers that I've got stuff down in there, big fender washers in between the pads. What you got to do is separate the pistons. So put those down in there, and I take a big screwdriver and I slip it down in between the pack of washers. This way you don't damage your brake pads. You push it down in there, and as you push it and twist, you can see the pads start to separate. And the goal is to get them all the way open, and they'll stay open for a little bit, and then you can get the caliper back over the disc. Just like that. I couldn't do it one-handed, but anyway, after separating it just slipped right on there. Piece of cake. Now all I've got to do is put the bolts back in, and this job is done. We think we got to take it for a test drive and see, which is good because my wife is out of gas, so we need to go gas her car up and ready for her to go to work tomorrow. Okay, she's all back together. Now, a smart man probably would have rotated his tires at this time. Damn, wished I thought of that. No, not really. Took the studded tires off here just 2 months ago, and I rotated them at that point. Another thing about Toyotas, locking lugs, and they come with this little locking lug nut tool, and to keep it in the back, and don't lose it. It just tucks down in there with the jack and other tire changing tools. There she is, just like that. Get this all back together. Just left the gas station. $85 to fill this Venza. $5.50 a gallon. Is that crazy or what? Ouch. Anyway, we're going to call this a successful brake job. It stopped straight and true. No noises. It's all good to go. We'll take it home. Wife can take it to work tomorrow. And what did I say I never do? I never wash this one. She can take it to the car wash. Well, this is my punishment for not doing the brakes yesterday on Sunday and having our car ready to go to work on Monday. So I owe her a wash job. The Venza looks a lot better. She's not perfect. She needs a good detailing, but better than the car wash would do. I broke one major cardinal rule, is I gave it a bath in the sun. Should be in the shade, but it's not gonna be. It wasn't a real hot day today, and I kept it wet the whole time, and then I wiped it down. So it came out looking okay, but it had a tough winter. It needs some care. I don't want to get any closer because you'd see it. So there you go. All right, the next project, more freaking brakes. Yeah, the Suzuki needs brakes too, front and rear. It also is going to get the lazy man's brake job. It just is getting a pad swap, nothing more. A future project on this SX4 is a 2-inch lift kit, so hopefully that'll be coming up on the channel here pretty quick. So anyway, let's go clean out the shop and get ready to bring another one in. Oh, shop kitty's around too. Things are even worse today. Not only do I have to clear room in the shop, I can't even get anything down the driveway. So what can I say about this little Suzuki SX4? Bought it back 2013, 14-ish. Had low miles. It's been a real dependable little rig. Had to replace the water pump on it. It's only got 60 some odd thousand miles on it, but it did sit a lot before I bought it. Anyway, the idea was, its name is the Copper Toad, and the idea was to set up for towing behind the motorhome. It's got a 5-speed manual in it. That's never happened. One more procrastination. I did put a trailer hitch on it, and I've used it to tow a small utility trailer around. Anyway, this is kind of my little grocery getter. And also I take it up the mountains to explore roads and trails if I don't think, or not trails, explore roads if I don't think they're going to be too tough and that the Suzuki could do it. All-wheel drive, but it's got really low ground clearance. Hence the reason I want to put a 2-inch lift on it here in the future. I've got all the parts, just need to buckle down and do it. So you're wondering, what's the significance of this stink beetle? Well, he and a friend, or she and a friend, taking up residence in my shop, which I didn't really care, except I was afraid they were going to get stepped on. So I moved them out here, and already they're trying to head back to the shop. They're walking that direction. The front end's up. Let's get the 2 front wheels off. A couple of years ago, when the tires wore out on the thing, I decided to put an off-road tread on there since I was going for the off-road look and performance. So I went up from a 205 to a 215 65/16, and this is the biggest tire you can fit in there stock. The only problem is, at the same time, I added these wheel spacers because the original factory wheels just sit in way too far. So these are about 3/4 of an inch. And I kind of shot myself in the foot because by going with that spacer, that put the tire wheel out just far enough to where it contacts the plastic fender here under full compression, front and back. So this is another reason why we got to do the lift. But it looks a whole lot better. If you look at the back, you can see the tires are tucked, but they were really tucked before. And in fact, the rear ones could use about another 1/2 inch of spacing out. Front ones are just about perfect, but we'll leave it like it is. But we do need to get the lift on there so they quit rubbing. But procrastinator me, I mean, they've been rubbing for 2-3 years now. So, and again, shop that can't find a damn thing. We're looking for the headlamp that I set down after the last time. Where is it? Have to go find it. And of course, I put it right where I would know where it was next time, and then forgot. So we do have the caliper off. Time to pull the pads off there. It dawned on me I need to rotate the tires on this beast, so instead of doing fronts and then backs, I figure I better get it all done. So she's completely up on jack stands right now. I'm just pulling the back tires off. I'll swap them to the front, and then I'll go ahead and take care of the brakes on the back. Before I do that, I will check and make sure that the wheel spacers are still nice and tight, but I suspect they are. Front end is all done. Basically the same steps I did on the Venza the other day. I just need to torque the lug nuts as soon as I get it set back down on the ground. And now we're moving on to the back. The issue at the back, and I won't say issue, but bottom line is I can't easily get my air tools in there. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, brute force. We're going to use a big-ass hammer and beat on the ratchet, just like you're not supposed to do. Kids, don't try this at home. Actually, I don't give a crap. This is the left rear brake pads. Look at that. Full meat left on them. Obviously, on this little car, the front does all the work. And in fact, these pads are just teeny tiny little things anyway. So we're calling this a win. We're just gonna put the extra set I bought on a shelf and maybe put them on sometime, but today we're not. We'll just get this bad boy back together and call this project done. Some may be asking, well, why didn't you check the pads before you pulled the rotors off? Well, the problem is, well, I can see the outside just fine. The dust shield is in the way on the inside. Can't really tell. So it's just 2 bolts. Easier to take it off and look. Plus, I really was expecting to be wore out. She's back down on the ground. All lug nuts are tight. Take it for a quick test drive. Make sure she stops. At least we know it'll have rear brakes. Didn't mess with those. All right, I think we're done. What's next? Okay, I just picked up this trailer here a week or 2 ago, and in hauling it home, I noticed that the front of it's a little high. It should be riding level. I've got airbags on the truck, so I can always keep it level that way. What I need to do is adjust that hitch. You can see that somebody had previously adjusted it, and if I had it there, it'd be riding way high. So I'm going to go the other way and bring that coupler up a little bit. And then also I bought some things for the stake pockets, and we'll get them inserted. Here's what I bought. 4 of these, they go into a 2x4 stake pocket, and the whole idea is I needed something to tie my tractor down, which is the whole reason I bought this trailer. This is a 14,000 pound total capacity trailer, about 10,000 pound payload, and it's a big trailer. I didn't really need one this big, but I've got so many other trailers that handle other duties that I figured go big or go home. Slip it down like that. Take pin across, put a cotter in the other side. Do that 3 more times and this project's done. One thing I've learned, when you put those little hitch pins in, if you want them to stay, pull them all the way down past the second little detent there. Otherwise, they always seem to come out the most inopportune times. So the fasteners on this thing are 15/16, which I easily had a 15/16 socket. I had to go searching for a 15/16 wrench. But I noticed I don't have a 1-inch wrench. So tell me, is 1 inch not very common? It's got to be. Why don't I have an inch? I've got much bigger and I've got much smaller. Oh well, doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and get this moved. I think I'm pretty much done with week 1 of my YouTube video. I've got to edit it and put it all together and see what I come up with. Hopefully it'll be 10 minutes worth. It's going to be a poor video. I already know that without even doing it. But you guys, by the time you get this far, if you make it this far, you'll already know that. That's nothing to write home about. But let me recap. We did brakes on the Venza. We did brakes on the Suzuki SX4. And we did just minor stuff to my new trailer. And that'll be enough for now. Coming up for next week, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing, but I've got more vehicle maintenance stuff that may have to happen, and I may get started on another project. One vehicle I forgot to mention was a Kawasaki KLR 650 that needs some work as well, so I might get started on that, but just hang around. There'll be something mechanical. Till next week, or whenever I get around to another video, signing out from Procrastination Garage. Hey, get out in your garage, shop, carport, dirt, whatever, and get something done. And hey, let me know in the comments what you're working on.